1 second. I'll let you know when we're live. And we are live. This is Scott Harney from Esoteric Guides, and I'm here with Marianna Leah Hernandez with the Magdalena Chronicles. And Marianna, where are you now? You're outside.
We're actually in the heart of New York City in Brooklyn, right by the beach where Hurricane Category 1, Hurricane Henry, is supposed to make landfall. So very interesting for our show today.
So hopefully get the show done before the hurricane starts. And the occasion is the full moon this evening. It's a sturgeon full moon. Mm-hmm. So, and it's actually, you can't see it yet, of course, because it's still day, but I'm sure you can feel the energy of the moon. Oh, yeah.
Very
great. So, cool. So anyway, so I'm going to make you the host, Marianna.
Thank
you. You have a beautiful guest tonight, Glenda Dawson. So, yeah, well, have a beautiful evening, and I'll be listening.
All right. Great. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you, Scott. and just wanted to add to that, we are all part of the Esoteric Guides NYC, which is an amazing platform and New York City's finest community now that has gone virtual. It's been around for almost a year now. So we'll be celebrating our 1 year anniversary pretty soon. Great. And it's been a fantastic journey. Right, Scott?
Yes. Yeah, it's beautiful to have all these beautiful people as part of it as well. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. What an interesting, auspicious day today, for sure, with having the hurricane coming around. And the beautiful sturgeon blue moon right around our corner today. And we have a very special guest with us, Glenda Dawson, who is an amazing psychic, medium, healer, Reiki grandmaster. And it's my honor to have her on the show. It's a privilege, definitely, to have her on the show. So without further ado, Glenda.
Thank you. With an introduction like that, oh my God. I don't know. Who are you talking about? I think you're talking about the wrong person. So how are you doing? Hanging in there, huh? We are getting the rains over here. And it's definitely very humid, so it's on its way to you, unfortunately. But you know, it's fitting on a perfectly good blue moon that we get a hurricane. You know, so well, I basically. You have any questions for me, Marianna?
Wow.
I know.
The first question is, can you tell us, I was going to talk about the blue moon myself, but I'd rather you do it because you have such a...
No, go ahead. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to make a small intro and then I'll have Glenda continue on. So for me, today, this blue moon represents a lot of intensity coming up in our lives as a human collective consciousness. And I feel like this blue moon will definitely wreak havoc with our emotional systems. That's what I truly believe. But it is for good cause always, because anything that comes up within our emotional psyche is always coming up in order to shine the light on the shadow and then bring that shadow up so we could process it and turn it in, transmute it into light. So expect the unexpected from what I hear from the guides today of all days. As you see, I'm even wearing the Venus. I turned the painting into a clothing line. And why would that happen today? You see all the colors I'm wearing, you know, these old colors, is that it's all going to be like a topsy-turvy kind of all part of the rainbow on the other side kind of day. And the next couple of weeks, especially coming into the next 3 days after this moon, because the energy is going to be quite intense and quite auspicious. Mm-hmm. So watch out for a lot of emotional uptake. That's what I'm getting. A lot of emotional uptake. I've never used that word before, so it's got to be a reason why I'm using it. A lot of downloads are going to come up, a lot of transmission, a lot of uploads about your former lives, especially when you guys were teenagers, around the times when you guys were 17. And it's bringing up a lot of old shadows from the things that you haven't cleared, especially during teenagehood, your early 20s and your late 30s, and even in the beginning of your 30s. So expect that to come up. So anything that you kind of buried into your subconscious will be returning back around the bend to make its way back into our lives in order to say, hi, I'm here. You forgot about me, but hey, this is the time and opportunity for you to make the choice to clear it or continue to put me on the back burner, and then I'll come back around the bend again. The most interesting part about this moon is that we won't be seeing this moon again for another couple of years till 2024. So take a moment. You know, I know we have a lot of busy lives, and I know that we've had a lot going on in the last couple of months, but in the last year or so. But take a moment today to really look up into the stars, look up to the moon. And if you don't see the moon where you are, due to the clouds or whatever's going on with the hurricane or the storm, still feel the energy. Take the time to meditate. Take the time to sit in nature, like I just did. Came out to nature just to take a moment, just to connect, get rooted, get uprooted, because you're going to get a lot of the uproot from within. So you're going to need a lot of that rooting, because what comes up must come down, and what is above, so below. So you need to harmonize yourselves. And that's really on a serious note. So I think that was quite an introduction, Glenda. Take it away.
Sure. Let's see. What can I talk about? No. Well, on that note, I do have a sound bath, crystal bowl sound bath and ritual at 7 tonight because of this whole full moon and new blue moon and emotions and all that. And as far as the emotions, I've been seeing that happen around me in the last 3 or 4 days. It's like everybody is like ready to snap. Everybody's cutting you off. It's like, oh, okay. And it's not even the full moon yet. Woo. I have, interestingly, I've even had people contact me from like elementary school, send me emails from college. I've had spirits, because we did mediumship, as a matter of fact, just last night. I run a class and they brought up people from my past, and I'm like, oh God. All right. Like I wanted to forget high school altogether. But
interestingly enough, I mentioned it, Glenda.
Yes, I know. That's why I say, what else can I talk about? Now, all you can do is really just prepare yourself by grounding yourself, and keep reminding yourself that once you clear all this, you can make room for all that wonderful energy and all that wonderful stuff that is coming right after. I mean, I feel September is going to be a very, very energetic month. And I feel that if we clear it, we're going to be the benefits of that good energy coming to us, especially in that new moon. It's going to be very interesting. So yes, I've been, usually I have these sound baths like on a Wednesday, and this month I was like, oh no, I gotta have it right on the day, because I want to make sure people clear some of that dust that they have on them, that they haven't worked on, and you know, just allow for that space to be there, to be able to hold space with that good energy. So I do want to talk about emotions. It's going to be very interesting. You're going to be starting to remember old relationships, and those that, you know, especially those that just disintegrated with no real ending to it. they're going to just come up and you're going to be, why? Why do I even have to think about this? But everybody's going to go through it, whether they realize it or not. They're going to have a lot of emotions, and some are bringing up the emotions in a present relationship. And they are, I know this one couple that already started their interesting time period. They're already throwing up stuff from the past. And I'm like, oh, you're supposed to work in the future, not rehard, go back to the stuff that you already talked about, let it go. But yes, we are going to also start to have those little moments for those loved ones that have passed on, especially if they're parents, and if they were close, like grandparents or whatever. It's like all of a sudden you're going to do something and you're going to say, wow, and you're going to feel like you want to cry for no reason, and you're like, why am I tearing up? They passed away like 30 years ago, and yet it's just going to feel like it's raw. So the only thing I could tell people is take a moment, close your eyes, take nice deep breaths, and it will pass, And if it's something that you have not worked on, then that's the universe telling you, before you can move ahead, you need to let that go. So that should be, I love these time periods. I mean, I personally have to go through a lot usually, but I love these time periods. And it's great because you come out on the other side and you feel so much better, so much lighter. And you learn things, even though you look at the relationship again or whatever happened again, and you look at it and you learn and you're like, wow, why didn't I learn that back then? Why didn't I see that lesson? But I love it. It's very magical, and there's absolutely nothing that can stop you if you really want to do it. If you really want to grow, if you really want to evolve, and if you really want to let go of that past that doesn't serve you right now, nobody can stop you but yourself. The opportunity is there. The universe is giving it to you, and it's saying, here it is. Come and take it. If you don't take it, then that's up to you. That's my take on it. And that's what I feel that most people don't understand. Now, as far as feeling energy, just the other, before, I am very short. I'm not even 5 feet tall. And 99% of the times the chairs, I don't reach the floor. Just saying. And I actually I was actually feeling the under my feet, the ground going like this. And I'm like looking down like, nope, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching the ground. And like, see, I'm feeling it already. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. So, I honestly was looking around to see if, somebody was banging something or, moving stuff around or whatever. And I was like, no, all righty, there you go. But that's what I see. And, I do have some students that they were feeling the effects even yesterday. And actually they started feeling the effects Thursday and Friday, where they were like, nah, we don't want to get out of bed. And I'm like, oh. And I think she's going to be hearing this. If she isn't on the call already, the person. So she's going to be like, why are you saying that? I'm saying that because you got to get up and go. Shake it off. So, but yes, she's definitely one of my biggest supporters. That, to be very close friends. So that's why I could tease her about this stuff. Now, I'm sure that you have been channeling a lot easier right now. since, I would say since Friday. I know that I have been able to pick up things that I'm like, oh, okay. And you see a lot more and you're like, really, I just want to have a nice cup of tea quietly. I don't need the audience. But, you know, I am sure that you have, and then the storm brings its own energy.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
We have the AC here working, thankfully, in this building. It's nice and cool. And yet I am inside like going, oh my God, this is hot. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. So what else would you like to talk about? Like my book?
Mm-hmm. I had the pleasure of looking on Amazon and randomly finding your book, which is I thought was so wonderful to, you know, and I think the point of this book, but I'll let you explain it, to me energetically before even reading the description, I found it to be so vital right now in our society and for the entire human collective consciousness. So I hope it travels afar and throughout the world and reaches as many people as it really needs to. Glenda's new book is called Sarah's Crystallis. And I think I'll have Glenda explain it, but to me, when I saw it, I felt such energetic pull to it because it feels like everyone should have a chance at reading this book because it gives you something to think about and something to connect to and relate to from your own life for everybody. And it teaches you a lot of lessons. It really does if you really listen. That's the message I got from the guys when I saw the book. It's like if you really listen, you'll hear it.
Right. The book is the true story is 1 of 5. I'm working on the second one now. It's basically about a woman in this particular time period, what she went through, the decisions she had to make, and the progress in that she had to go through to get to where she was at the very end. That just because something is there, that doesn't mean it is for us at that moment. Just because we decide, okay, you know, we're going to have children, not have children, or do this or do that, we're not stuck. You know, people think that you do one thing and that's it for the rest of your life, you're stuck. And then that's not true. You could evolve. You grow, you could change, set your goals, and look at the progress, the process and the progress. This book is about a woman who basically came out of a divorce and everything that happened from her, basically the divorce till almost the point that she met someone else. This book also talks about how she never lost feelings for this person, and she knew that they were connected to something higher than just, you know, what's here. They were connected spiritually, they were connected in every dimension, but things just, I can't really give too much away, but things just didn't work out the way that they had been planned. And she even had guides give her clues. She listened to her guides to which direction to go to. She really struggled and was real when the story was being told. You know, a lot of the times people don't like to admit certain things in their lives. Well, she made it. She said what she needed to say in this book. And it is helpful for those that are going through challenging times as to kind of doubting themselves, whatever decisions they have made up to that point. Every single decision that we make that feels right at that moment will lead us to a place where our path begins, or back to our path. Things could have gone very differently. She had children, and she could have left the children with the father and gone and done whatever she needed to do. But she chose to take care of these children and be there for them, and make sure that her commitment to bring up these angels the right way and give them a fighting chance not to leave them with an abusive ex-husband gave her the courage to do whatever she needed to do. And, you know, a lot of people have a lot of skeletons in their closets, and they're ashamed of that. And a lot of the times you have to remember that whatever happened at that moment, so that is what makes you who you are today. You know, whatever struggles you went through, whatever decisions you had to make, whether were hard or not hard, or whether it seems like everybody was pushing you one way or another, that is what brings you to today. And that is how you decide what's next in your life, what direction to go to, what direction not to go to. And the idea is always to be open-minded. And basically, she went from the caterpillar to the cocoon and started transforming herself and seeing herself in a different light. Not the way her parents saw her, not the way her ex-husband saw her, not the way her friends saw her, not the way anybody else saw her, but the way she saw herself. And she made it through. And the love in this book is always there, no matter where they are in time or space. That connection is always there, still to this day. And it's an interesting little story. And like I said, I'm working on the book number 2, which will be before this, to explain how she got up to that point. And for the record, all the books are only 13 chapters, my favorite number. And I don't want them to be really big, because I want them to be a person to be able to take them with them. Not just like, you know, because sometimes if you got 600, 800 pages, you read it up to a certain point and then you're like, oh, I can't read it anymore. Boom. But I made it so you can't put it down. And almost everybody who has given me a review has said they can't put it down. As a matter of fact, one of them said that she left her job, her work late, and her husband was calling her because she was just reading. And she usually doesn't have even patience to read 1 or 2 pages at a time. And she was just reading and reading and reading and couldn't stop it, couldn't put it down. So I'm very happy the way the book came out. The cover was done by my youngest girlfriend. She did the cover for me. And I planned for her to do the cover for all the books. And then the foreword was done by Chip Reithenthal, who is a person who is very big in the paranormal and spiritual community. He's a medium, a psychic. He does a lot of paranormal. He has had a few radio shows that were, you know, every week. Now he's taking a little break for personal reasons. But yes, he's very big. He's an author himself. He does lectures. So he was like, I asked him, and he was like, "Oh my God, yes." And I'm thinking, usual 1 page or a couple of paragraphs. This man is like writing and writing and writing, and I'm like, okay, thank you. The foreword is like 6 pages long. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that about myself. No. I always have to talk about that. But yes, and I'm hoping everybody looks at it. At least you could get it on Kindle. You could get it soft cover.
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. That's the place, and you could just take it with you everywhere. So almost time. You're traveling, you can just take it with you. It is a short book because I designed it this way. I didn't want it to be a really big book. It's less than 200 pages. It's only 162 around there. And I plan every book to be that way. Short, sweet, and catch you and not let you go. So, and the idea would be to put all the 5 different stages of a butterfly. From the very beginning to the very end. So it's got a lot of lessons for females and males. The lessons are still the same. The decisions are still the same. The process that one takes still the same. Doesn't make the difference. And then there's some reality that most women will not admit, but it exists, and why not? Put it out there, very sexy. A few very special moments, and some sexy scenes.
So does that mean it's going to turn into a film at some point?
I hope so. Man, I would like to see who plays me. Who is writing this book? Me. Oh, okay. No, seriously. I like to see that. This would be great if it goes in the movies. I think it would be like Chip Reithen's kind of 50 Shades of type-ish. But yes, and it does grab you. My God, the guides, my guides were pushing me to write this book for about 5 years until I said, okay, pandemic, good timing. Stuck at home, you could only see your significant other but so much time. You got stay there, I'll be over there. And so, but yes, and he did help me. He helped me, as he says, take the Jersey girl out of it, because Jersey girls have a certain way of phrasing things, and he was like, "This is too Jersey." I said, "I know. That's why I gave it to you, so you could undo it." But he was my editor, so he was good. And I had a few friends that also helped me with, what do you think? It's the contact to what do you think? And they were all very happy with it, and I'm glad because they really helped me bring this story up. And this is just the beginning, like I said. I'm stuck in chapter 7 in the other book, but I'm trying to not, I have to remember that there's legal aspects to things. So you have to write it in a way that nobody can sue you. Because if it wasn't real, then everybody would say, oh, it's not real. Okay. But then there's always those people that are still living that can sue you. So I even ran this through an attorney friend of mine, just to make sure, because that paralegal background in me said, I better just have a fresh set of eyes look at it. So, but that's about it about the book. Because I don't want to give too much away.
I understand.
You know?
Now, the number five to add to that is the number of transformation.
Mhm.
So it's that metamorphosis,
Yes.
you know, that you're trying to bring out. And I love how, you know, it's almost like you're going, you kind of giving it like the first front, right?
Uh-huh.
The active agent that, you know, nobody could put down as far as the book, the story,
Right.
almost like in a nutshell. But then you're tracing it back to what happened prior, how that led.
Right.
And, you know, I'm a writer myself and an editor. So, you know, writing is in my blood.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the best way to write it. And because then you kind of trace it. And then by doing that, you're also kind of like reevaluating your life, reevaluating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, those skills are amazing because you get to learn the lessons and relearn the lessons that you haven't learned in the prior.
Yes.
You get to see how much you've grown and what your metamorphosis is like, especially now.
Right. And, you know, I've have this lady who will not put it out there at all, no review or anything, because she's like, oh no, my husband sees this, I can't. And she's like, it reminded me of me. And I'm like, oh, what part? No, she was saying that it reminded her of all the decisions she made and how she realizes now, after reading the book, that she could have taken so many different ways. And yet she's glad that the way she finally ended up is where she needed to be, because that's how she met her present husband. That's how they realized they're really soulmates, twin flames type of thing. That's how she's come to terms with her past, and she realized that, you know, everybody has a story and everybody has gone through things. And most people think that they're the only ones. But when you start talking about it, when you start putting it out there, you realize that a lot of us have gone through the same thing, and yet we're ashamed of it. And it's like, why? We had to do what we had to do to get here. And that's how the universe throws all this stuff at you so you could get to hopefully learn and evolve. I call those opportunities. That's the only way that most humans learn, because we're really not that smart. We really like to learn the hard way. We don't like to learn the easy way. So, but
I'm one of those humans, Glenda. I like to learn the hard way. I'll admit that wholeheartedly.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying that there are times where I catch myself. I'm like, wait. This is a lesson. Hold on. Before you go into the deep end of that pool, think about it a little.
Retract
a little bit. You know, you don't know how to swim that good. So, but yeah, so I'm very proud of this book, and I am really looking forward to finally getting through to the other one. And once I have the other one, then I could do the same thing, put it through Amazon. It's so easy in Amazon, really easy. I thought it was going to be a lot harder because a lot of people say, oh my God, you know, and I'm like, I went and I saw the videos, I read all the stuff, sat down, did it, put it into their format, done. I'm like, what? So, and they even, if you want, they could even do the, you know, the ISBN number for you. Although I got my own also, because I don't know, my kids kind of saw the idea of me doing it, and they love the fact that you get a little certificate, and and they could say, "Oh, my mother did that," she published a book. But and the funny part, out of my stepson and stepdaughter-in-law and my kids, only 4 of them have read it. They don't really, they're scared to look at it. I'm like, why? Nothing new. You guys probably done all this stuff anyway. So, they're like, no. I think it's funny. And, but the one who did the cover, she read it. She actually took it to the beach 2 weeks ago with her. She's sitting there reading it while everybody else is in the water. And I'm like, so how long did it take you? I said, she said, the one day. I'm like, what? No. I, truthfully, and now more seriously, this is a great book to help you realize you're not alone, and to help you transmute, and to help you realize that there are things in this life that we got to go through that will help you get to where you need to be. We did our soul contracts before we decided to come back. And they're going to throw little diversions and little things and, little connections and all that other stuff. And then they're also going to throw things at you like, abusive relationships and all that other stuff, bad stuff. So to keep you down so you don't learn, because the good wants you to learn, the bad doesn't. And since the world's made yin yang, there's the good energy and there's the bad energy. And if you're one of the good ones that comes back to make sure that you're trying to heal this world and help the earth heal, they're going to throw a lot of obstacles your way just to divert you, to throw you off, to keep you busy with your stuff instead of focusing on the bigger picture. So that's my belief. And everybody's belief is different. So, okay.
Thank you, Glenda. I want to add to that. You hit it right on the money, especially right now with what's going on with this moon, and what's going on in the world and altogether on a global level, on a global scale. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, not alone in this when I say that a lot of us have received a lot of obstacles and challenges that are just coming in, like almost it seems like a tidal wave. Like, we have heard when it rains, it pours. This is more than just a pour. This is a flash flood.
Yeah.
Like what's happening in Tennessee. But just for a lot of us, it's happening on the spiritual level, on the emotional level.
Yeah.
And we are light warriors. We are light bringers. And that's why when I sent out the email as an invite, I said, hello, all light bringers, because that's what we are here to do. We are here to anchor the light. And so the more light that we are meant to anchor, the more darkness is going to come, because we have to shine the light onto the caveats of the darkness that are still impending this world. And so, especially with these moons and these time periods that are coming through, they're perpetuating that global colossal shift and change in our lives on a global level, because it's meant to shake us up. It's meant to bring out all those little caveats of darkness that we still have within us as our shadows, because every layer that we kind of like uncover and we peel off like an onion, right? We then, oh man, there's more. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. And I mean, also, you know, like how many past lives did we have? Just like we're still uncovering all
Yes.
these other attributes that we did not know about. So it's like, oh yes, I've just healed this major timeline and I feel great. Oh man, why am I feeling so bad the next day? Wait, what? I have more stuff to heal?
Right, you were doing so well the night before. And you wake up and you're like, oh, okay.
Right. Exactly. So it's that kind of a pull. And that's why when I saw your book, I said, oh yes, this is a book that really people can relate to. This really is a book, honestly, that we can all feel like, okay, I'm not alone in this. I feel like everyone who reads this book, whether they're female or male, it doesn't matter, will find themselves in this book. And that's why so many people get lost in it. It's not that they're actually trying to escape from their reality. They're trying to heal something within that. And that makes a global impact. And I know Glenda and I have had, previous conversations where I said, you will impact millions of people around the world. And yes, you will. By book 5, there will be.
So I better hurry up.
Take your time.
Are you telling me to hurry up? You only have like 2 months. Okay.
We have no idea how things are going to progress for the next couple of months. We all know this.
No.
Yes. And I'm pretty clear on the guides when I say that a lot of us are going to find ourselves in a shutdown or a lockdown of our own kind, whether we get shut down globally or not, because of the current events that are going on that we will not discuss on the show tonight. That's a whole other story. But yes, definitely the time that is right now is beckoning us to look at books such as these, to be able to find ourselves how we heal from the wounds that are still so buried inside our subconscious. And even like where I am right now, I would never, if you told me this 5 years ago that I'd be sitting here in this park, there would be no way I would, even fathom being here, because this is a park where I grew up, where I was during my teenagehood, where I had a lot of trauma, a lot of emotional stuff that had come to me. And yet I feel so secure and so safe and so comfy and homey sitting here today. Like, it seems so nice to just be here. It feels like home. 5 years ago, that would not be.
So obviously you worked through a lot of stuff together. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to that point where, even if it's for a day, because once we heal something, they're just ready there. Oh, let's go to the next one. But that's where we want. We want to keep going. We want to keep going so we could hopefully let go of all that stuff and be that candle that gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and nobody can turn it off. It's like, solar power. So it just keeps going and going. Even if the batteries die, it still keeps going. So, and that's one of the reasons I wrote this book, is because I kept hearing that's going to bring a lot of healing. It's going to bring a lot of healing. And believe me, there were times that my significant other and I had a few words as to. I was like, no, I don't want it that way. Because I'm really bad. I have to admit, I'm kind of like a perfectionist for myself. And I'm like, no, I'm not sure the world is really ready for this. And then I kept getting in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, wake up every night. Okay, I got it. All right, I'll go and finish it. It's like in the middle of the night that would wake me up if I didn't do it during the day. And I'm like, come on, guys, I need my sleep. I'm almost 60. I gotta. And now that I'm 60, I'm like, thank you for letting me sleep a little bit at least. I don't have so many wrinkles. So, but and that's why I have all my classes and all that, Marianna. Because a lot of them are by donation. So, like a lot of people say to me, oh, I don't have the money. I said, I'll never turn you down. Just come. Granted, Reiki attunements and stuff like that. There's certain classes I cannot do that. Just I have to have energy exchange for that. And that's just the way the world goes, and that's just even the way the universe wants it, the spirit world wants it. Because then they don't want people to take advantage of something. If you pay for something like a Reiki attunement level, whatever, that means you really want that. You know, even if you don't have the money, you save the money. I mean, I tell people, okay, just do it in payment plans if you can't hold on to the money for, you know, however long. And I tell them, that shows me and the universe, you really, really are interested in this. You really are trying to better yourself. You're trying to open yourself up to healing. Because as you know, Reiki 1 is really about healing yourself. And that's where you start. And then healing at level 2 is yourself and others. And then, you know, you just keep adding to that. But that's why I say most of my classes, meditations, Reiki, we run a Reiki clinic every Monday at 5:30 on Zoom and in person. And I never turned anybody away. As a matter of fact, a lot of the times I'm like, okay, it's just, you know, because they feel awkward. So I said, okay, go to the dollar store and bring me a thing of cookies. You know, it's like, I don't care that my office is made up from paintings that people have given me in exchange for things to, when my one student has helped me steam all the carpets. So, you know, we clean the carpets, we, you know, she's helped in painting. There's signs, there's clocks, there's candles. I don't care. It's like, you know, I know that if spirit wants me to have this open, they're going to figure out a way to give me the money for the rent. That's the way I look at it. So I prefer that a person who really is at the edge or really having a hard time feeling themselves lonely and feeling themselves without any power, disempowered. I want them to start healing. I want them to, the only way to do that is if you participate with people who are thinking the same way, going through the same type of things, and to know that you're not out there in left field. Come on over. Join the group, join the party, join the class. I run Reiki, we run guided meditation, we do mediumship development, we do even Qigong, but that's in person only. Qigong, we even do that twice a week. And the woman who teaches it, she's got the same thing, she thinks the same way. If you cannot afford what I suggest, $15, say for the class, and you could only afford $5, then give me $5, but I prefer that you come. And you know, it's people may look at us a little crazy, but I figure the blessings always come back. Always comes back. So instead of paying it forward, I send it out first, and then it always comes back anyway. So, but yeah, and you know, like tonight with the sound bath, if somebody came and told me, I really don't have it, but I feel I really need this, I'm not going to turn them away. You know, but if you're coming with, you know, if I know you have millions of dollars, I'm going to say, well, you know what? It's time for you to share. It's time for you to share. But that's how we run things here. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud that I've been able to keep that going. Yes, in my website, I have my prices for those who could afford it. But anybody who really needs healing, truly needs healing, not just somebody who's taking advantage of it. And I'll know if they're taking advantage. Because you know, Marianna, somebody tells me something, this is how bad it gets. I actually see like a little liar on top of their head, or a red flag, like no. And I'm like, I'm trying to not laugh because Spirit is giving me the hint there. And I'm like, really? It's hard to look at this person and not crack up because of the stuff that they telling you. I had this one student who finally grew out of that, would give me the biggest, silliest, straight out lies, stretching the truth. And I'm like, I'm looking at them, I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you remember, you're telling everybody, oh, she's got great abilities, she could tell all this stuff, and then you come and you tell me these things. And I'm just like looking at them like, okay, you will learn. And then I turn around like, is that really the truth? Or is that the truth you want to believe? And, I use that opportunity as like,
that's a good one. Is that really the truth you want to believe? That's a great one.
Is that really the truth that you want to believe? Because they're creating whatever it is. So, so I'm like, that's the truth that you really want to believe. That's the truth you want to believe. And I gathered that will be your truth at this moment. Right. But I'm hoping that you see all sides of what you just said. And he actually got to a point where he would start something, he would say, no, that's not true. I'm sorry. Okay, no. And then he would, all of a sudden, he's just, oh my God, doesn't that feel good? Because you don't have to worry about what story you told me or what story you told somebody else. Your truth is your truth, period. If somebody doesn't like it, then they don't like it. Then, but you don't have to worry about, oh, I told this person this and I told this person that, and I got to make sure I keep them straight. And it's ridiculous. And now I am doing something really cool, Marianna. I am in the metaphysical committee for the world's largest ghost hunt event. And it's worldwide, 150 teams for a 24-hour period we're going to be doing ghost hunts. And I'm one of the mediums that we've been working on it and starting to do all of our protection sigils and prayers and all that other stuff. So everybody has a unified set of protection, and this way they don't have to use it, but a lot of people don't know what to do. Some people have gone investigating ghosts and all that, never even said a protection prayer. I'm like, wow. Do you at least, smudge yourself so you don't bring stuff home? Because eventually you're going to pick up something. And then, of course, you're an ambassador too of the Wish Alliance. Yeah.
I'm also a medium, and I've done ghost tours. Mm-hmm. Actually, as a matter of fact, me and Scott did my first ghost tour experience with Scott, and it had a doll in it. And I did not do a prayer of protection. I did bring stuff home. As a matter of fact, since I was 17, like I am right, sitting in this part, it took me a long time to actually grow out of that. I was like a vacuum for spirits. And, and I've learned that spirits clung to me for different reasons. And I thought it was only due to.
You muted yourself.
Going on with my health or
Right.
Anything that was happening. But then I would still bring guests home. I call it the guests.
Yes.
I actually made a special spot, like a guest house. And I was like, you know what? I need some sleep. So you go right there. They talk to me in the morning, whatever you need. But there was moments where I could laugh at it, and there was moments where I definitely could not.
Right.
It was really affecting my life. And I learned that it wasn't only, if I had gone to like a low vibrational location or something was going on with me, I would go to a shamanic, because I practice shamanism.
Right.
And I do energy healing. And I learned that at one shamanic ritual that I used to love to go to every month, it was like a shamanic circle right in New York City. I had actually taken a guest home. And the story with that was, it was a 17-year-old boy that had passed away. And he had felt the sense of loneliness and abandonment.
Right.
And he felt very lonely, not understood by the world. I sensed that it was a suicidal situation. God rest his soul in peace. And he found in me, how he got to that point where I was, I don't know, but he found in me a safe haven where he could just stay, because he was in between worlds and he has not crossed over yet. And he stayed with me for about 3 months. I didn't know. But I felt that virile, that feeling of like that loneliness I felt it in my life throughout my whole life, but not to that extent. So that's when I knew it's not mine.
Right.
And that's why, like, sometimes you do have to check in with yourself. It's like, is it mine? Is it someone else's? Am I picking up something? But when it's consistently with you and you understand that it's not yours, and it's somebody else.
Right.
And I had studied in Canada, in Vancouver, with a very special medium who does mediumship classes. And I did an 8-week course. And then after that, we did a whole investigation at this hotel that used to be used for Hollywood movies. And I was part of, as a medium, like a world tour.
Hotel Chantley?
I think so. I don't remember the exact, but it was like a pink hotel, something like that. It was around it was not that far from Vancouver. I remember that.
Okay.
I'll send you the information.
Yeah.
And he had gone in, my teacher had gone in to do this, and our biggest homework was to kind of like get a reading for him prior to that. And I said, don't go upstairs to the second floor. As a matter of fact, his station for that night was the second floor inside the hotel. And I said, don't go up to the second floor because, there's going to be an accident there. And I explained what the accident was. I had dealt with a tub in the bathroom, and he was like, okay, I'll let them know. His wife is very concerned. She kept calling, like, are you okay? Did you go up to the second floor or not? And what ended up happening is that they contacted me the next day, and they did say that they ended up switching shifts with somebody else. The person that was a medium there at that time, thank God somebody pulled him away. One of the people that was doing the tour, and it was during the pandemic too, but when they had reopened a couple of things, actually had gone into the bathroom where that tub was and actually almost hit his head onto the tub because a spirit had come in, and I guess he slid, he lost his balance. So I remember doing it.
Wow.
Wow.
I learned very young in life to protect myself. Basically because I've been speaking to archangels since even before the age of 10. I'll only admit to age of 2 and above because the first 2 years my parents were saying, she's seeing things again, and I could hear them, and I was just like, but don't you guys see it? And and then at the age of 2 I understood that not everybody was as connected. And I was very blessed that they taught me. They said right away, you go in anywhere, you have a lot of work to do. You need to learn how to protect yourself. And the first thing they said was, you go somewhere and you don't feel very easy, you just come in and call us and we'll be there. And that's what I used to do. And then, of course, as time went by and I grew older and I would go into more intense places, I learned that you have to do a lot more than just call the archangels. You got to call everybody. You know, but I have gone to places where people will look at the entities or will see the entities and they would say they're demons. But, you know, I just call everybody chaotic. And it depends on what they want to do. I usually go into places where previous teams have wild up the entities, and I have to go in there and basically try to do some resolution and try to remediate the situation and try to come up with some good understanding so everybody could be there. But and if not, then okay, we're gonna throw you out. But you know, especially when there's children. I go to a lot of houses where there's children, and because the kids can see them and they experience them. They're wide open. And I'm like, yeah, okay, so you got to make a decision. You got to play the rules or not. Still, I'm giving you a democracy here. You still have a choice. You still have free will, but you go this way, you could do this. You go this way, you got to get out. It's kind of like, for example, in my house, it's a house that was built in 1900. I believe it was finished before that, but that's when it was actually registered. And there's a lot of entities there, of course. And what I do is I have an agreement with them. They could live in the attic as long as they don't disturb anybody in any other place. I did ask them if they could do dishes and laundry. They said no, but you know, I did try. You're going to live here. You're not going to pay rent. The least you could do is pick up a dish and wash it. But, you know, I've gone to places where there are a lot of children that were abused and they were killed by their parents. A lot of kids that did not go into the light because they were afraid of going there, because they thought that their father was going to be there and their father was going to be in the same place, or they thought because they did something really bad that they deserved to die from the beating they just got, and that they were going to, if they would go into the other dimension, they would go to hell. You had to explain to them that, you know, it's not the way that we've been taught, not exactly, and, you know, and then I would open the, you know, the tunnel, as they say, and they would see their mother, and it would be like, my mom's waiting for me, my family's waiting. Yeah, I feel a lot of love. Yeah, there's no bad stuff over there. It's all good stuff, you know. And I could tell them exactly how it is because since I've had near-death experiences, I was there. And I felt the unconditional, overwhelming unconditional love. It's like, it's just, you step it and you like want to cry because it's just so overwhelming. And you don't see physical. You know, people think you're going to see the person exactly like this. You're like, no, this is just a body, a vessel that we use for this lifetime. You know, I see the essence and I recognized, you know, the essence of my grandmother and the essence of my grandfather and the essence of my aunts and uncles that have passed away, or at any point, you feel and you know who they are. And it, you know, a lot of people say to me, well, how do they talk? And I said, they don't talk like this because there's no lips, there's none of that. It's all third eye, mind to mind, you know. And it's just a whole different other place. Now, with that, I do always give a disclaimer Please don't end your life, because you got to come back, and you're not going to be at peace. You got to come back and redo it all over again. So just play your life out. No matter how bad those moments are, from moment to moment. Play them out so you don't have to do this interesting bad life that you may have, or we all have at any moment. You know, because we all have bad moments, all of us. But if we decide to end our journey ahead of time, we got to come back and redo it. Oh, and then it'd be worse, because they're going to make those obstacles even greater, harder, stronger, and make life a little more interesting, as I say, or worse. So I always give that disclaimer, because a lot of people may hear that and like, no. We all go through things. And for us, what we're going through is the end of the world. For us. I could be going through breast cancer. And for me, it's the end of the world. But for somebody who's already had it, or they're like, oh, we already been through it. It's okay. You're going to have a bad moment, but it's okay. So remember, no matter what you're going through, for you, it's the end of the life, but it's end of the world, but it's just a moment. Just try to go through it. Try to stay positive. Look for answers. Look at your life and examine your life and see why is it that you're there. Because maybe it's your guys making, or putting you in this situation, so you learn and you realize that you're in the wrong road, that you're supposed to be 2 miles down the road instead of to the right, instead of to the left. So we all go through things. It's just whether we see it as an opportunity to learn and grow, and to just use our gifts and use our abilities and use that team, that beautiful team that we have, that we all have, or we could just give up and live miserable. And you can't control anything, so you might as well go along for the ride and say, okay. It's like with me, I said breast cancer. With me, I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the end of October last year. And I said, nope, this is not mine. And I did a lot of energy healing. I was doing Reiki on myself every day. I didn't even tell people for a little bit, because I wanted to work on that myself first. The universe provided this one mentor that he was learning something, and it was energy healing, and I was like, okay, I could be one of your guinea pigs. It's okay, I can do that. And so he's learning, and I'm giving him feedback on it, and I'm getting healed, because we're bringing up a lot of stuff that I thought I had worked through, and I had not. And that was the stuff that was creating the physical illness. And it's very interesting. Once we started working on that, I went the day of surgery, and the doctors actually thought that the records were wrong, because they did a sonogram and there was nothing. Not even the indentation of where the tumor was, nothing. So they checked the other side thinking, well, we could have written it the wrong way, whatever. And she was just like, there's nothing. And I'm like, yeah, I know. She's like, no wonder. I said, I even came prepared. I already had talked to my hairdresser. If I needed anything, I already took care of my hair. She's going to cut my hair, make a wig out of it. Because that was the only thing I was worried about. Silly as that is. And the surgeon was like, I'm never so glad not to have to gear up and do this. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Because I don't do well with scars. I still have scars from when I was like 5 years old. So they don't go away from me. But like I said, it's sometimes it's something that we didn't work through. And I paid attention. I opened my eyes. I said, okay, what is it? Give me the opportunity to figure out what it is. And they did. They brought my friend, who's my mentor now, and he did, it's just like perfect opportunity, fell everything in place. And I had never met him before, just in a group. He put it in a group. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And just, that's why I keep telling people, don't drown in your own self. Just try to look for the light and keep aiming for that light. Let the universe and let your guides and let the world show you the way. It's right there. The opportunities, the open doors, the way to get things. I have been without a refrigerator and a freezer since February. I ordered it, and I just got notification that it will be hopefully delivered to me the second week of October because of COVID. I'm like, oh, okay. But my youngest girlfriend, she had an apartment-sized little refrigerator, and she had just cleaned it out and put it in her basement because she didn't need it anymore. So she lent me that. And then the store actually lent us a refrigerator, a small one, but it's still a refrigerator. I'm like, I'm all set. I had a freezer already that was downstairs in the basement. We brought it upstairs so I didn't have to keep going up and down those stairs. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll roll with the punches. And I'm like, wow, this is good. And now one is for the prepared food and one is for the unprepared food. I cook, I make extra, so like this I don't have to cook every day. And it's all good. I made it work, and I actually think it's a great idea to have one side of the refrigerator. So, but yeah, people, I know we all drown in our own feelings. And sometimes we just have to stop for a minute, take that deep breath, connect with yourself again, connect with nature, connect with spirit, connect with the world and that energy, connect with God or the creator, higher power, whatever you want to call it, and just let it show you how to swim your way out of it. Because a lot of the times what we're suffering is not ours. We're just here to figure out how to learn that lesson. And maybe we're the opportunity for somebody else to learn the lesson. And we have to go through that. So then somebody else could see us as the example and say, wait, she had that. And she said, no, no, I already have enough. I don't need any more. And she said she worked through it. And so I'm hoping that that could be inspiration for somebody else. And again, we're not alone. We all go through our things. And at any given moment, people may think that what they're going through, because by right it is, what they're going through is the end of the world for them. Like when I had my children, I had a lot of miscarriages. I was supposed to have 11 kids. I would have had all of them. 3 sets of twins. And it was like, okay, I wasn't meant to have that one. All right. I wasn't meant to have that one. Okay. And then the 3 that survived were the ones I was supposed to have. And believe me, I see in them what each and every one is supposed to be and where they're supposed to go. And I have to just sit here and wait until they're ready. So, like my youngest one has already taken Reiki level 2 with me. My daughter, who's a natural healer, could pass by you, take your headache away. And she finally learned how to let it go. And my eldest could tell the future. He knew when I was going to divorce his father. 2 years before we even got separated, he said to me, by the end of such and such a year, you and Dad are not going to be together. And I'm like, no, honey, come on, don't be silly. Your father and I love each other very much. And I'm like, oh, wow, he was right on target. So actually, he missed by a week, but basically, he got it. And that, so each and every one of them has their own abilities and their own gifts. And I'm hoping that they continue expanding in that when they're ready. We all have to do it when we're ready. As you well know, we all have our one child that's a star. And that's the one that's going to hopefully really heal the world.
Thank you, Glenda. As a matter of fact, we will be having a Crystal Children's Show in September, which we're getting really, really ready for. This is something that's been like really requested by many people. And it's really needed because the generation that's coming in now, speaking of which, my 16-year-old, I just remembered him because people would have a headache and he would be 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, and he would come up to them and be like, don't say anything, close his eyes, put his hands on their head. 5 minutes go, and their headache is gone.
And it's funny to see them, isn't it? It's hysterical. It's like,
wait. I remember those days. And I'd be like, what is he doing? At that point, I wasn't awake. But I'm like, what is he doing? Can you do that to me? I'm busy. Take care of the healing. That's right. Yes. But we are having a really, really big show. I hope you're with us that day. It's going to be on September 20th, hopefully, God's willing. And I hope you're with us and you can make a beautiful, unique add-on to it, to our show. It'd be wonderful. And wanted to ask you if you can, before we all go, if you could lead us in a meditation this time.
Sure.
Not me, but have the honor, the almost honor.
Sure, of course. All right, let's just close our eyes. Take a nice deep breath, nice and slow, and release. And connect with that beautiful energy that's all around us. And especially this beautiful full blue moon energy that even though there's clouds, storm, or maybe you have beautiful sun, bright sun, it's okay. That moon is still there. That moon is still giving us the energy that we need. And as you connect to that beautiful moon, feel the connection that we have to each other. And let that link be what holds us together as one. The link that we are all here for a beautiful purpose. The link that we have been chosen to come at this very moment for such a beautiful time where we shine our light very bright so the darkness can be put away, shoved away. And those that need the healing can see us no matter where they are in the world and find us. And whether you think you have abilities or not, or whether you think you could heal somebody or not, everyone can. Everyone has that ability. A kind word, a thought, a phone call, a text, a good morning, or even just opening a door so they could go through. Those little things can make the person's day wonderful. And those little things are just what we need to continue to do so we could all be healed and let the light win. Let the light shine through all of the earth. So this time where we have a lot of obstacles, it just be a distant memory. And realize how much healing we have all done and the earth be back to normal. Take a nice deep breath. And thank your guides for being with you. Thank your ancestors for passing that legacy to you. Thank the sun, the moon, the creator, and beautiful Mother Earth for all the blessings, all the joy, and all the opportunities we are given every single day. And on your next breath, when you exhale, just sigh and release all that does not serve you well, all that you don't need, all that is no longer of use to you. Take another deep breath, and nice and slow, release. Feel that calmness and that energy that's all around you. Thank you and blessings. You may open your eyes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
That was
you.
so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for the honor.
The honor is all mine. I think this is by far one of the best shows that we've ever done. And truly, your words are exactly what everyone has needed, especially at this time.
Thank you, honey. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and anytime. I'll see you around.
Of course.
Thank you, everyone.
Of course.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye. Have a
Namaste.
great
Stay
day.
safe out there.
Yes,
Stay safe. Thank you
please.
guys for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Thank you so much. And Glenda, you know what? Before you go, just let everyone know how they can find you.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. GlendasMagicalCreations.com. That's the easiest way. And I could put it on the chat if they want.
Yes. Put it on the chat. And anybody that wishes to get a copy of Glenda's book, maybe we could make something happen that you guys get a free copy, that we can make that happen through us or through myself as a gift to you all who has been on this call with us. I know Glenda has her sound bath and ritual to get to,
Yes.
but definitely definitely. And Glenda, where are you based at? So in case we want to
Oh,
ever visit you, they come
Stroudsburg,
to a class.
Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, 1451 Rockdale Lane. We started out with a little tiny office and keep expanding. We almost have the whole floor here, first floor now. So doing good, doing good.
That's
All
wonderful.
good energy, all good energy.
I know I'll be there for a visit for sure.
I expect you. Namaste, sweetheart. Love you all. Bye.
Thank you guys. What a great show. Have a beautiful sturgeon blue moon. Thank you, and
Yes.
stay safe out there for the hurricane.
Bye.
Bye.